Welcome to A Walk in My Stilettos, where our goal is to help you walk in your greatness. I'm your host, Makini Smith. Today's guest, I have been following on Instagram for quite some time now. She is a lover of Jesus, a media personality, a professional speaker, a brand influencer, founder of JJ's I'm Me Foundation. She is also an author of Without Bruises and Respect My Crown. Please welcome Jillian Simmons.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being open and honest and ready to share your story to inspire other women. I've been following you for quite some time, and I love everything that you're about. It resonates with me. So I just want to, share your greatness with my audience. You know, share your walk and use that to inspire other women to do the same.
That is
So
wonderful.
I guess the first question I love to start with, because, you know, everyone has all these titles that they go by, and, you know, we use those things to kind of, justify who we are. But what's most important is your name. So do you know what your name means?
Gosh, and I did remember, and I'm pushing 41. I don't remember anymore what my name is, but I can Google it and find out. That's such a good question. Like my daughter, which is so funny, her name is Alani. Her name means orange tree, and I'm just obsessed with. I love oranges. Don't get me wrong, but that wasn't why I named her Alani. But she's always like, "Why am I named after an orange tree?" That is a good question. I don't know. The meaning of Jillian. It says it means youthful.
Okay. Okay. See, that's
I'll take
beautiful.
that.
See, you know, I think a lot of people forget the meaning of their name, and I think when I ask people that question, you know, it really resonates with them on who they've become, or, you know, who they want to be, basically.
Yeah.
So my name, Makini, I used to grow up hating my name, and my parents used to tell me, "Oh, it means beautiful one. It means beautiful one." I'm like, "Oh, okay, fine. You know, I'll accept it." And
Oh,
as I as I got older, I thought, okay, wait. I started to do some research on my own and realized you guys lied to me, or you have a different, you know, meaning book that you got it from, because it's Swahili for strength of character.
oh
But
wow. Oh, that changes everything up.
exactly, that gives it a deeper meaning to me. That's why I love finding
Yes.
out the meaning of women's names, because it has a meaning to them, you know. So you
Yeah.
mentioned your daughter. How old is she?
She's 11, going on 25. Yeah, she's
I
an
get it.
amazing little human being.
I get it. I get it. So how has being a mother changed your purpose?
Oh my gosh. When you have a child, everything changes. Your whole view of the world changes. And you start to realize it's more than you that really matters.
Mm-hmm.
So, because of my daughter, I started my nonprofit, JJ's I Me Foundation, to
Mm-hmm.
help create better role models for other little girls, because I was concerned about who my daughter was looking up to as a
Mm-hmm.
role model. My daughter was talking about stuff, when she was 6 years old. How did Justin Bieber go to jail, mommy? I'm like, what are
Oh,
you talking
wow.
about? And are you watching E News like at school? So, I realized no matter how much I pour into my daughter at home, she's so easily influenced by others, and I don't know what other conversations are going on.
Right.
So it was just really important to me to make sure that I'm doing my part just as um, a caring person, a person who believes everyone contributes to making the world a better place, helping these girls to just be great role models for other little girls.
I think that's beautiful. When you look at your daughter, do you see yourself? Do you see, you know, the younger Jillian? Like, what do you see when you look at your daughter?
Yeah, I do. There are pieces of her that do remind me of the little version of me. She has a lot of a lot of energy. She has a lot of talent, like she's great at speaking, and she loves to dance. I used to be dancing all over the place. And so, yeah, there are parts of her that I look and I just smile because I'm like, gosh, you're just like me. And I tell her I want her to be like me. I carried her for 9 months. She better
Yeah.
be as much like me as possible. Yeah.
I laugh because I call my eldest daughter my mini me. When I look at her, not only do I see me as, who I used to be, but I see a mirror image of myself. She looks exactly like
Oh,
me. She's
wow.
just a,
Yes.
a different complexion.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing when you
It
can look at
is.
someone and you're like, gosh, you really are me?
Yes, yes, it's beautiful. So you said your
It
daughter's
is.
11. What advice would
Mm-hmm.
you give her when she becomes a teen?
The biggest thing for me at right now, and really in the last couple of years, someone had asked me a while back, like, what's the legacy I want to leave for my daughter,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the spirit of giving. And so, what is more important to me, even as a teenager, for her is, I want you to still remember it's imperative that we are giving back. And I love seeing, even just now, like yesterday, she said, "Mommy, I want to stop and buy donuts for my friends." And I'm like, I'm not paying for these donuts. Like, they got mamas. And so she's like, I got my own money. I'm gonna pay with my own money. And she's just a giving person.
That's
And I
beautiful.
just want her to keep that going because I feel like in the teenage years is when they really start to become obsessed with themselves, and social media has it at a whole
Mm-hmm.
different level now.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't want her to get away from just being a good person and helping to help others.
I love that. I love that. I mean, one of the models that I live by is give thanks by giving. I mean, there are so many people out here in the world that just the smallest gesture can mean the world to them. And I think that sometimes because we're in these situations where we may be doing a little better off than others, sometimes we take that for granted and forget. So I think it's beautiful that, you're instilling that in your daughter. So I guess what three things would you want to instill in her based on your past experiences?
Oh, that's a good question. Trusting your intuition is
Mm,
one. And we have conversations about that. Like, please, if nothing else, when there's something in you that's like, it doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel good, you need to go with that. Two would be, all the answers that you need are in God's word,
mm-hmm.
and you know, to really seek Him when you're having hard times, and I think standing up for what you believe in, because
Yes.
you know finally it seems that we're in a different climate now where women are speaking up and sharing their truths, and it's really uncomfortable to do. So I want her to learn it now so that she can be prepared for what's going to come later.
Mm-hmm.
Don't ever silence yourself, um, especially when it's so necessary for you to share your truth that's going to impact other people.
Yes, yes. So you said one, trusting her intuition. I think that's beautiful. I definitely believe that our intuition is God talking to us. It's that discernment. When we pray, that's us talking to God. But when we have that intuition, that's God talking to us. So we need to be able to listen. Two,
Yeah.
you said, all the answers that you need are in God's word. And it took me, I'm going to say way too long because I'm 38 now, but it probably maybe just around 5, 6 years ago for me to actually get that. And I wish someone had told me that a lot sooner. And
Yeah.
three, you said to stand for what you believe in. I am a firm believer in that because if you don't stand for something, you will fall for everything.
Oh
Um,
yeah. Mm.
and maybe that's why I resonate so much with your message that you share on Instagram because I'm definitely a believer. in, standing for what I believe in. And people always say to me, oh, well, you talk about God too much, or, oh, you're too this, or, oh, because I support teen moms and mentor them, that, oh, I'm encouraging, teen motherhood, but that's not it. What I believe in is encouraging them to be better human beings, to contribute to
Right.
society, to have better futures than what I thought possible when I was in that situation. So I think those are three amazing things to instill in your daughter.
Thank you.
So can you tell us, what's the JJ I Am Me Foundation? What is that about?
So our foundation has a few different programs. One is our biggest program is called the I Me Tour, where we go to middle schools and high schools to empower young girls to be the best version of themselves.
Love it.
And it's an 8-week program. We have robotics, healthy cooking, goal setting, health and fitness, beauty and style, mental health session, like a girl talk session. And I mean, you name it. It's just, I have an incredible team of women who just volunteer their time to help make an impact on these girls. And we're in at-risk schools. So it's important for me that the girls are seeing women that look like them. And,
Yes.
so they're also seeing women in these great careers like a chef and a robotics engineer. And, they're getting to see people where they can inspire to be, like them.
Mm-hmm.
And so the program, we've been doing it this is going on our 7th year. And
Awesome.
it's been great. It's just been so great to see the transformation of these young ladies, by the time they graduate from high school. And some of them I've seen at different colleges. And they're like, I went to your auntie school. I'm like, oh my God, you are growing up. How are you growing up? And I'm getting younger. So it's just wonderful. And it really touches my heart just to see that these girls, they just need someone to bring it out of them. It's already
Yes.
there.
Yes.
It's just they need someone who believes in them. They need someone who can listen to them, who can love on them, and just tell them like, hey, you really are great. Like it's in you. Like we are born into greatness. We come
That's
from
right.
greatness,
That's right.
So,
Yes.
but they don't hear it at home. And I'm not judging anybody's parents because a lot of parents are going through their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
But so that's where we step in. It's like, hey, I understand your mom might be working 2 or 3 jobs and she can't give you the attention that you need, but it doesn't mean that we, put this huge blame on her. It's just everyone needs to step in. And when they say it takes a village, like that's real.
That's
that
yes.
isn't a cliche that's ended. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yes.
real. Everyone needs to play their part.
Yes, I agree. I was definitely raised by a village. So you say, okay, is the IME Foundation, is it just like in a specific state? Is it all over? Where, how can people become a part of it?
Yeah, so it's interesting you say that because we are working on building chapters in other places. So right now we've done work in Houston, Texas. We've gone to Dallas. We've done work in Vegas, and now we're looking at some places in Los Angeles. But we're open to take our tour and our different programs anywhere,
Hmm.
around the world. Um, yeah, so, and people can find us online at imefoundation.org and find out more.
Perfect, perfect. Well, I visit Houston often. I have some girlfriends from Toronto that move there, so I would definitely love to, participate hands-on and
Oh,
connect with
yes.
you and help. I love what you're doing. I work with young girls here in Toronto, and I go into facilities for teenage moms. And what you said about your foundation, where it's important for them to see someone that looks like them. I
Yeah,
think that is a big, big deal that is not emphasized enough, because oftentimes they bring in speakers that these young girls can't resonate with. They don't see
yeah,
themselves, so there's no emotional connection there. So the impact isn't made. They
yeah,
bring in people that possibly have never even experienced anything that they're experiencing, and they're teaching them book knowledge, but there's no life experience attached. They don't understand what they're going through. And
Yeah.
I love, hearing the feedback from the girls that I work with. They're like, wow, you grew up in the government housing that we grew up in, and now you're doing this. Like, that's awesome. Like, so they
Yeah.
love that. So you go
Yes.
in and they have, this different perception of life. And by the time you walk out of there, you realize they now see the world as a completely different place. It's like giving them permission to be the greatness that they were born to be.
Yeah.
So I
That's
love what
right.
you're doing. I love it. I love it. So you
I love
also
what you're
have
doing.
so you also have a movement and a book called Respect My Crown. Can you explain what inspired that?
Yeah. So, it's so crazy. It was last year, I want to say around summertime, I thought about this idea of doing like Respect My Crown, this movement. And at the time, I heard God say, it's a ministry. And I'm like, Lord, me, ministry? I don't know about that. And what is that going to look like? And at the time, it wasn't necessarily a clear vision. I knew I wanted to do events that were like networking events for women where they could um, come in and meet people who are in their same field and just bond with other women. And then this year, I came out of an emotionally abusive relationship, and the vision changed.
Mm,
And it didn't even change, it just became clear. And
right.
it's like, oh, wow. So now I see what this is. It's more about helping women with their mental health.
Mm-hmm.
And overall, Respect My Crown, it encourages women to deepen in spirituality, sisterhood, accountability, and service. And so it has everything that I needed in the last year that I didn't feel like I really had until now.
Right.
And so I it started with a dinner party. I this is really crazy. I did some videos and I shared my story of dating a person who was a narcissist. And there were 12 women who reached out to me who had also either dated him or had some type of relationship with that same person.
Wow.
And they confirmed his abusive behavior. And these women they were thanking me for sharing my story,
Mm-hmm.
not realizing that I needed to hear from them because I don't know, I believe you've experienced something similar, right, in
Mm-hmm.
your
Yep.
past.
Yep.
And so how you can feel like you're going crazy, like I know I'm not making this stuff up in my head. So like, people, you need that confirmation
Mm-hmm.
and from people, and there is a point where you kind of need like validation, you know what I mean? Like, I need somebody to say you're not crazy, you're
It's social
okay.
proofing. It's social proofing because
Oh yeah.
when you're sharing your story, a lot of people are afraid to share their truth of their story because there's some shame or guilt or something involved in there. But when you remove the shame, because shame loves secrecy, when you remove the shame and you are open and transparent and you allow yourself to be vulnerable,
Yeah.
you basically help others do the same, because that's when people start to step out, and all these movements, Me Too movement, all these things come out where people feel like, okay, you were brave, you were courageous enough to share your story and your truth. Okay, I'm gonna not leave you out there by yourself. I
Yes.
experienced this too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And it was the best thing that could happen at that time. So I did a dinner party for the ladies, and six of the women showed up. Then I invited other women who had dated narcissists, and I uh, video documented the conversation because I wanted to share it with the world. So we just talked about, the experiences that we've had, the charm, the manipulation that takes place, the triangulation, and all these different elements that take place in the relationship. And then we did healing exercises at the end where we affirmed each other. We talked about the words and the phrases that our abusers have said to us that still resonate in our mind. and how we need to combat those with affirmations and what is the
Mhm.
truth about us.
Mhm.
And so it was, I mean, really a magical night. And I said, this is what Respect My Crown is. I mean, it encompasses everything that I wanted. The accountability. The accountability is like, hey girl, you gotta heal. So let's go. Like, let's get
Yes.
to healing. Let's stop, and coming out of an abusive relationship, your mind keeps going with things that happen. Even
Mhm.
months after you've broken up, you're still thinking about, you're putting together puzzle pieces like, oh
Right.
crap, you know what? Wait, he lied about that. Like,
Mhm.
it's just
Yep.
like, just
Yep.
stop. And so and it can be so frustrating. So you need somebody that's kind of, who understands, who can say, who says, I get it.
Yep.
And let me help you through the steps that worked for me. So that, and then it built a sisterhood. These women are women I talk to almost every week now, and now we don't even talk about those situations. We're talking about life and other
Yes.
things. So
Yes. You
it's,
attracted your tribe. You attracted your tribe.
yes, and then it's like, and I love these people, and so yeah, so Respect My Crown came off of that, and then so there first it was a dinner party, then I said I want to do a bigger event where I can invite more people and have a bigger discussion, with the panelists and my therapist and some other people. So I created what's called The Gathering, and it's been like the first one, it was sold out because women, they want a safe space to share
Yes.
and
Yes.
not be judged
Mhm.
and, criticized. And it was so powerful, listening to women just share their stories.
Mhm.
And so Respect My Crown, I mean, it's exactly what I wanted it to be. And, I want to encourage anyone who has this idea, especially as it relates to like ministry, and you feel like I'm not qualified for this, because that's exactly how I felt. And in my book, the last affirmation in my book is I'm qualified, because
You
that's where
are
I struggle with the
qualified.
most. Girl, I did not think that
You
until
are
God
your
reminded me.
experiences qualify you. Okay, I
Yeah,
know a lot of women that are in a leadership role. Sometimes experience this imposter syndrome because they feel like I don't have the qualifications for this. But your experiences
yeah,
qualified you. God qualified you. You don't need somebody else to give you a piece of paper to tell you that you're qualified to do what you are already doing.
right, right. That's so good. Yeah, yes, so good. So yeah, Respect My Crown. It's exactly what I couldn't even imagine it to be, honestly. It's perfect. It's really doing what I want it to do, and it's just changing lives, and it's just all about healing. And people are on my journey with me to healing.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
don't have
Mhm.
all the answers. I am there are things that I am still learning as I go. There are I tough situations I'm still dealing with now that I can't seem to escape, and I'm just like, um, and I'm sharing those moments with people because this is what's real, and I want people to know. And with emotional abuse, it's always your word against someone else's, and
Yes.
so it is draining when you
Mhm.
feel like you are constantly trying to convince people that you are the one telling the truth. And narcissists are great at lying and making the person look crazy and
Of
coming up with
course. Mhm.
ridiculous stories. And, being in the public eye makes it worse because obviously, social media and everything, it makes it so much worse because
Mhm.
like people just feel they can say anything, and, lies spread faster than the truth,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
unfortunately. So it's like God has really, I mean, He will present the opportunities for growth, right? And it's
Yes.
always uncomfortable. And so while it is painful and hurtful, it has been a blessing this year to learn to not worry about what people think about me
Mhm.
and to not worry about trying so hard to convince people or defend myself because it's
Right.
like, hey, God knows the truth. At the end
That's
of the
right.
day, God knows who you are. He knows the truth. and that's all that really matters. Everyone else
Exactly.
can have their own thoughts, their own perspective, and you can't spend the rest of your life trying to change, what people think. It's like, you
My
know what it
mentor,
is.
my mentor says, if you, he said, people don't think. If you listen to what they say and if you watch what they do, they will tell you and show you that they are not thinking.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. It's crazy. And I am transparent, so I just want to share this for the sake of I know people can understand this.
Mm-hmm.
But in the last couple of months, I had to quit my job in
Wow.
August because the person I was working with was telling people I was sleeping with him,
Oh, wow.
and and my ex narcissist believed these lies. So it jumped on to, she's been cheating on me all this time with a married man and this, and I was
Wow.
like, man, this is crazy.
Wow.
And nobody, like, how someone can lie on you and you are like, I know the truth.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm. I've
know
been there.
me,
I've been there.
and yeah, and that's what I mean. It's like, so imagine, just really imagine you have your ex that's spreading all these lies. Then you have the person that you've been working with for a year now telling people I'm sleeping with them, I'm asking him for money, and she's asking me to take her on trip. And finally people were telling me, like, hey, this man is talking about you every day. And I'm like,
Mm.
like, it's creepy to me. First of all, it's just creepy, right? To
Mm-hmm.
think people are making up a whole story.
Yep.
And so um it's hard when it's hurtful, right? Number one, it's hurtful
Mm-hmm.
because you know what the truth is, and how dare someone feel like they can attack your character, that you trusted.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, it's just draining. And the fact is, everyone goes through it at some point. There's someone who tells a lie on you, or they
Mm-hmm.
say something and you are like, I can't even believe y'all believe this, first of all.
You,
But
you
they're
know,
like, I can't believe it.
what I have come to learn, because my ex-husband was like that, and he was extremely verbally and emotionally abusive, and I left when it got physically abusive, and he was very great at, he believed that, he felt that they were the truth, so his ability to tell it and convince other people that he's telling the truth was like, wow. You would sit back and watch and be like, that is like a lie from the pit of hell, but you
Right.
believe that to be the absolute
Yes.
truth. That is
Yes.
amazing.
Yes.
That is amazing.
Yes. It is, in my first book, Without Bruises, I talk about my the guy that I was with, and he was a sociopath, and we had broken up. He was stalking me, and I remember my first day of school, and I was going back to college, and it's my first day, and his sister calls me. I didn't even know who it was, and I step out the room, and she's on the phone. She's going off. My brother is sitting here in my mom's arms crying because you won't leave him alone. And I am like blown away. Like, wait a minute, your
Mm-hmm.
brother's stalking me. Like, it's not me. And they will
Mm-hmm.
turn whatever it is that they are doing to you, they will make people think it's you, what you're doing to them.
Mm-hmm.
And uh and it's like I said, it's so draining because it's natural for you to want to defend yourself. It's natural for
Yes.
you to want to have vindication. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I want people to know this is a lie and I am telling the truth. And you will suffer if you continue to feel like you have to prove yourself. It's
Right.
like, this is what I'm learning. Like, and I'm telling this as I'm learning it, right? I am learning, protect your space, protect your
Yes.
energy. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like, when you start to hear things or people bring things to you, well, such and such said, hey, I don't need to hear it. I'm going to
Yeah.
stop you right now. I don't
Like,
even need to know what it is. It doesn't matter.
yes, and it's great that you've come to that understanding, because many people don't understand. You have the ability to accept or reject any idea that comes to your mind. So people choose to accept, what they're hearing, or what what someone said or what have you, when they have the option to reject that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. They
your
do.
conscious mind, the thinking mind can reject that, but your subconscious mind, which is like your emotional mind, can't tell the difference between fact or fiction. So this is how I
Oh
know
yeah.
that those people that do those negative things and the narcissists, they definitely believe subconsciously in what they're saying, and because it can't tell the difference whether they're telling the truth or not. So their body and their actions start to do certain things because that's what it believes.
Oh
So
yeah.
So I,
Oh
I
yeah.
remember I remember an emotional post that you had on Instagram where you were sharing your experience with your ex, the narcissist. And for those of us who have been in toxic relationships, like I know myself, I personally wasn't able to be completely transparent about what happened until I had healed from it. So,
Yeah.
what my question to you is, what inspired you to open up while you're still healing?
Yeah. Oh, good question. I did not, honestly, I did not want to do it. That day prior, I or actually I think it was 2 days prior. I was angry, and I was talking to my therapist. My therapist said, "You have to get this out. It's time to tell your story. You need
Mm-hmm.
to get it out because you are becoming physically sick."
Yeah.
And then I got a phone call from one of my friends, and we were talking, and she said the same thing in a different way. She said, "You have so much anger balled up in you, and that anger has to go somewhere."
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, "Okay." And then a guy who's like a mentor to me, he called me. This is all in the same day. He calls and he's like, he said, I picked up the phone. I'm like, "Hello." He said, "Baby girl, time to tell your story."
Mm.
I said, "Okay." He said, "There are some women who are sitting next to men at church thinking that they are a prize.
Mm.
And they are doing the same thing that this man has done to you. They are hiding behind God. And it is important for you to share your story because you are going to help some other people to wake up."
Yes.
And I'm like, ooh, talk about pressure. So I'm like, okay. So I called a friend of mine who does videos. I didn't even tell him what I was talking about. I said, "Hey, I just need you to come over to my house and I'm going to record some videos." And the next thing you know, I mean, it was very emotional, but I just had to tell everything.
Right.
So I say that to say I didn't necessarily really want to do it. It's like I really had to. I didn't have a choice because I was really going to be on the edge. And when my therapist said, she said, "This isn't necessarily a book. Like, I'm not telling you to sit down and go write a book right now." She said, "People need to see you and they need to know how serious this is because
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you that there are other people who are going through it." And so sure enough, I posted that night. There was like almost 200 DMs that I had,
Wow.
just direct messages, and I went through every last one of them, and it was so many people. "This has happened to me. Oh my God, I've dated a narcissist. I know what you're talking about." Then the women who knew him, and it was people who secretly from fake pages hit me up. "Oh my God, I wish I would have told you to leave him alone." I know, and it was just
Wow.
it was unbelievable, the response. And then just to hear that people are like, "Yeah, I'm going through depression. I need help. Oh my God, I'm trying to heal." It's just it was like God said, "You do this and I'm going to show you exactly what your purpose is through
Mm.
this pain, through
Your
this
pain birth your
uncomfortableness."
purpose.
Oh, it is an
Yeah.
uncomfortableness.
Of course.
Like you really see what it is you're supposed to do in this life when you get really uncomfortable. It just
Yes.
comes out, and this whole year, girl, this whole year has been uncomfortable, and I just
Because you're
know, and
growing.
it is growing. It's pruning season, right? Like I feel like
Yes.
God is pruning me. He's like, "This is not going to be pretty this year, but
Mm-hmm.
trust me, when I get done with you, this flower is going to bloom into something
Yes.
beautiful, and you can't even because I can't even see it. I'm
Yeah.
just doing the work. I'm not going to stop these events. There are times where I want to quit. Like, I really
Mm-hmm.
do.
Mm-hmm.
And depression is a beast. Depression
Mm-hmm.
is so tough.
Mm-hmm.
And but I won't let the enemy win. I'm like, nah, you won last year because you got me. Because I didn't listen to myself when I knew I shouldn't have been in that relationship. You got me that time. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna tell you something. You're not getting me again, especially on this. I'm like,
Yeah.
Lord, I have learned the lesson. Trust myself.
Listen, you talked about, your therapist said to you that your emotional pain is literally making you sick. And when I was younger, I used to hear all the time, stress kills, stress kills. And we used to see older people, people's grandparents and stuff when they passed away, and people were like, what actually happened? Oh, she was stressed out. She just, made herself sick. I didn't understand then until I started studying the mind now. And when they say you have a disease, that word should actually be separated to dis-ease, because your body, your mind, it creates all of these feelings that trigger all of these hormones and neurons and all these things within your body that literally make you sick.
Yeah.
And when I was with my ex-husband, I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, which is an autoimmune triggered by stress. And I
Wow.
had anxiety, I had depression, I had all these things, and I couldn't figure out, how to cope with the fibromyalgia. I was having these flare-ups where my body was in complete pain, like all the soft muscle tissue
Oh man.
was in pain. So I was literally in pain. And when I left him, it was like the stress of learning to cope and be a single mother of three. So it was like constantly living in stress. And my flare ups kept getting worse and worse and worse. And I became a full time entrepreneur when I left him. Everything just got worse. And I couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong. No medication from the doctor was working, no prayers, nothing was working. And I actually literally got sick and tired. And then last year when I broke up with my ex, he I'm going to say completely put me in shock. um, and
Wow.
my body shut down. I couldn't
Yeah.
get out of bed. I was in such pain, but because of the emotional pain that I was dealing with, it
Yeah.
triggered, your body being in such like this chaotic, anxious state that I was literally like sick to death. And when
Yeah.
I met my current boyfriend, this is why I tell everybody he changed my life, because from the moment that I met him, I have not had a flare up. My stress levels are
Wow.
like basically disappeared. It's it's been life changing, but
Yes.
the mental and emotional pain that we deal with literally puts our body at a
Oh my God.
dis-ease.
Yes. Yes. Let me tell you, last year in actually January or December. So December comes and I get sick. And when I tell you, Makini, I have never experienced this type of pain ever in my life. I
Mm-hmm.
had these migraine headaches that were, I mean, excruciating. Like I thought I've had migraines before until December of last year. Like it was so painful. I was in the ER on Christmas Day begging people like, please give me something because I wanted to just be done with life. Like that's how bad it hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And everything they were giving me, nothing was working. And so finally 2 days later, I go and then they're like, well, you have an upper respiratory infection and you have a sinus infection and you have it. And then I ended up with Bell's palsy.
Mm-hmm.
And I really want to share this short little story about it because if anybody knows what Bell's palsy is, your left side of your face is frozen.
Frozen,
It's
yes.
paralyzed,
Yep.
right? So my eye keeps watering because it won't shut. So during this time, my ex has this gala where he's getting an award, and I told him, I said, I'm just going to be honest. I want to support you, and you know that I do, but I don't want to go because this is too much for me. Like, look at
Mm-hmm.
my face. I can't even smile.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm in the public eye, so people are going to come up to me and they're going to
Mm-hmm.
talk to me.
Pictures
And,
and yeah.
yeah, and he said to me, he said, I'm so glad that you aren't going to be selfish and that you're going to come and support me. And I was like, oh, wow.
Whoa.
Okay. And when you love somebody, and you're convinced that you like that you're the one in the wrong. Like I'm like, okay, I'll be there for you. And that made me sicker. You know what I mean? The
Yep.
word
Yep.
sicker. It sounds weird,
More
but
sick. Yes.
but more sick. So it just people don't realize. Like now, I can look back at all of that and I can say, oh crap, it was my body telling me, hey, you're in something toxic. And I mean, that was so overwhelming. The amount of money I spent on doctor's bills, it was like $2,500 in 2 weeks of just,
Wow.
it was just a mess. It was madness. And I know for sure now when I look back at it, that's exactly what it was. Your body doesn't lie to you at
That's
all.
right. That's right.
It's
Trust
saying,
what your
hey,
body is telling you. Trust it.
trust your body.
Trust
It
your
is so
body.
serious.
So where can we find more of Jillian Simmons, JJ on the mic? Tell people where they can find you.
Yeah, so my website is jjonthemic.com. It's just 2-letter J's. Also JJ on the mic on Instagram and Twitter, JJ on the mic fans on Facebook, and respectmycrown.com. You can find out about our events and what we're doing. I do workshops, Respect My Crown workshops. Anywhere, I'm really blessed to be at a church, the Experience Ministries, or Experience Christian Ministries in Los Angeles next month. And I'm really excited about the movement and taking it around the world and helping women to build self-love, to dive into self-awareness, which is really uncomfortable for folks. Like, I gotta know myself too. Yeah. And just helping us to just live better lives. And, I can't wait. I'm excited.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you're talking about, building self-awareness. Is it the seven levels of self-awareness? Like the top level is self-mastery. So, I always tell people it's important. It's important. So I have a question because I mean it's no surprise that I love stilettos. So they say that your favorite type of shoe says a lot about your personality. So my question to you is, what is your favorite type of shoe? Is it a stiletto, a flip-flop, a running shoe, a wedge, a pump? Like, what's your favorite type of shoe?
I'm scared because I don't want to know the answer. I am absolutely a sneaker girl. I love sneakers. I love running shoes. I just
So
it's so
that's
funny.
perfect because
Yeah.
they say that people who love running shoes are goal-oriented people.
See. Okay,
See,
that's good.
that's good
I was
stuff. Good
scared.
stuff.
Yes, yes. I embrace that.
So, for the last part of the show, I like to end with a segment called "A Walk in Her Stilettos," but I guess for you, we'll call it "A Walk in Her Running Shoe,"
Yes.
where you inspire people with part of your journey. So, I usually ask a couple of questions. So the first question is, name a book that has changed or greatly impacted your life.
Oh, The Shack. Have you
The
read The
Shack.
Shack?
Is that the one where they have the movie out about it? I think I watched the
Yes.
movie.
You saw the movie?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The book is
Okay.
even better than the
Okay.
movie.
I'm gonna have to pick
Yeah.
it up.
Oh
The
my
Shack.
gosh. The Shack
Okay.
changed my whole life.
Okay. Can I ask in what way?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I could tell you. Yeah.
Yeah.
It helped me. Ooh, and I hear God just speaking right now too.
Mm,
He's like, ah, it helped me with forgiveness.
beautiful.
And for those people who may have read it or at least saw the movie, the man has to forgive the killers of his daughter, and he has to forgive his father for what his father has done, right, to him. And his father abused his mother, and he has to forgive himself for what he did to his father. He poisoned his father. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's and you get a glimpse at his father's abusive life, and it helps you to understand, oh, he went through something, and that's what
Mm-hmm.
caused him to be this way.
Right.
And I hear God speaking to me on that because, you know, forgiveness, I mean, it's not an easy process. It's not.
Right.
Like, let's just
Right.
be real about it. We're humans. We're emotional, and So it helped me to forgive my mother. That book helped me to forgive my mother for the life that I wish that I would have had with her, that did not happen because of her abusive ways. And maybe I need to watch it again or read the book again so that I can get to that point of forgiveness with this other person, because it's a work in progress. There are days where I'm like, oh, I have forgiven him. And then 2 days later, something dramatic happens,
triggers.
And you're like, no, he didn't. Like, forgiveness just is gone. And it's like, oh. So I'm getting there, though. I'm really getting there. I'm getting there now where things just become laughable. And it's just like, oh, gosh, really? This is what? Okay. But it's forgiveness.
I think forgiveness is so huge, and I think for me, I believe that forgiveness is for ourselves and not necessarily for the other person, because it allows us to let go of what they have done. When I was going through my divorce with my ex-husband, and I was angry, I kept having my fibromyalgia flare-ups, I was in and out of the hospital, and then one day I said to myself, you know what? I forgive him. I forgive him. And I accept the apology that I may never, ever get from him, but I forgive him and I genuinely wish him the best. And my life changed after that. I started doing better in my business. I was genuinely putting out positive energy out there towards him. So any negativity that I may have been attracting, I let it go. I let it go.
Yes. And God blesses you for that too,
Definitely. Yes. I believe that. I don't know what it's, us and exes, but my recent ex, I forgave him because I was under the impression that we were going to be getting married and, buy this house and live this happily ever after life. And I was completely blinded by the fact that he, was cheating on me with his ex and whoever else. So when I found out, I was completely devastated. We had no issues in our relationship whatsoever. So I was angry.
Wow.
I was angry.
You felt like you've been fooled.
I completely fooled. Completely. It took
and
me
like
maybe Go ahead.
The happily ever after ended too. Like your dream just got shot down. You know what I mean? And that is something we have to recognize too. That adds into why it's so hard to forgive even ourselves, because it's like, should I do this again? Should I wish for? The expectation.
It sideswiped my vision of what I thought reality was, because then I was like, well, what has been real in our relationship? What was real? So it made me question my reality. But I was able to forgive him. And I thought to myself, I know stories of what he's been through in his childhood and in his past. And I could be angry and punish him. But me forgiving him may have been what, God placed me in his life for. To show him what forgiveness looks like, to show him what unconditional love looks like, to show him, maybe a forgiveness that he's never felt in his life. We are not, we don't speak, we're not friends, but I forgive him.
Right. Oh, that's so good. I needed to hear that. That's so good. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So my last question is, if you could have a gigantic billboard anywhere with anything on it, what would it say and why?
Oh, I was going to say something really funny, but it would be so sarcastic that I'm not going to say it. I've been wanting to create a billboard in this last year, put a couple people's faces on it. So let's see. I would say, ooh, that's tough. That's a good one. Gosh, I would probably say, I see those billboards all the time that says, Jesus loves you. You know what I mean? Like, you see them like in the neck of the woods or something in random places. And, but every time I see it, I promise you, it just makes me smile. And I'm like, yeah, he does love me. I would probably put like, God loves you. God loves you. Something that, I would have to, people would look up at, and you're just going to have a thought, or you need that reminder sometimes when you feel like nobody is there, no one's listening, no one's supporting, or you feel like God isn't listening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, the fact is he is there and he loves you. And that's all that matters. That's all that matters. His love surpasses everything.
Everything. God is awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time to join us. Honestly, I wish you nothing but the best, and I ask that you continue to be a lighthouse to other women and girls so that they can continue to heal, because you will definitely be blessed for everything that you're doing out there. Thank you so much, Jillian. Thank you. So until next time, download the A Walk in My Stiletto app or subscribe to our newsletter at awalkinmystilettos.com. Continue to walk in greatness in your stilettos in a manner worthy of your calling.